Every generation has its voices. Some voices disappear with time, others become part of it. Some gave us the songs we fell in love to. Some gave us the songs that helped us survive. Some built entire musical movements, while others changed the way R&B and soul could sound forever. And right now, somewhere in America, one of these legends may be getting ready for another show. The music world moved on. New stars arrived, new sounds took over. Entire generations came and went. But these legends never got the memo, because they never left. Welcome back to Retro Vinyl. These are 12 legendary artists over 80 who didn't just witness the history of R&B and soul, they helped create it. And the stories behind the songs that made them legendary may remind you why some voices never really disappear.
You can see, but you realize that if you knock on wood, that's it. That's what's that. Like Eddie Floyd.
12. Eddie Floyd, the voice of Southern soul. Born in 1937, Eddie Floyd is 89 years old in 2026, and his story begins with the sound of Memphis soul. Before he became one of Stax Records' most recognizable voices, Floyd was already part of the music business, as a songwriter and member of the Falcons. But it was at Stax that he found the setting that would define his legacy. Then came the song that changed everything. Knock on Wood was written by Floyd and Steve Cropper, and the story behind the title is almost charmingly simple. The phrase came from the old superstition about knocking on wood to avoid tempting fate. But once Floyd's voice met the Stax rhythm section, the song became something far bigger than its title. The recording exploded with energy. Floyd's vocal was powerful, dramatic, and full of urgency. The song became a major R&B hit and one of the defining records of the Stax era. But Eddie Floyd's importance goes beyond one classic. He represents the Memphis soul tradition, music built on rhythm, horns, gospel feeling, and the emotional directness of a singer who did not need to hide behind elaborate production. At 89, his legacy is a reminder that Southern soul was never just a sound. It was an attitude. It was raw, physical, and deeply human. And when that opening guitar and those horns come in, you are not just hearing a hit. You are hearing Memphis knock on the door. 11. Darlene Love, the voice whose identity was taken from her. Darlene Love was born Darlene Wright in 1941. Now 85, her story is one of the most extraordinary examples of a singer being heard by millions while remaining almost invisible to them. As the lead voice of the Blossoms, Love became one of the secret weapons of the Los Angeles recording scene. She worked with Phil Spector and sang on records connected to some of the biggest names of the era. But the most famous example of the injustice surrounding her identity was He's a Rebel. The record became a #1 hit credited to the Crystals, but the lead vocal was Darlene Love. He's a rebel and he'll never be any good. He's a rebel. The world heard her voice. The world bought the record, but the name on the label belonged to somebody else. For years, that was the strange reality of Love's career.
Not just one of the crowd. My baby's always
She could be one of the most important voices in a recording session and still be treated like a background figure.
If they don't like him that way, they won't like me after today, 'cause I'll be standing.
Her story became a powerful reminder that the music industry did not always give singers, especially black women working behind the scenes, the credit they had earned.
Always good to me, good to him I'll try to be, 'cause he's not a rebel, no, no, no.
Eventually, Love reclaimed her name and her place in music history. And decades later, her voice still carries the same force.
My baby's always the one to try the things they've never done, just because.
Whether on He's a Rebel or the Christmas classic Christmas, Baby Please Come Home, there is something unmistakable about her delivery.
Just because he doesn't do what everybody else does.
The woman once hidden behind a group name eventually became impossible to hide. 10. Candi Staton, the Queen of Southern Soul.
What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? Ending up
Candi Staton was born in Alabama in 1940 and is 86 years old in 2026.
you count up the years, and they will be filled with tears.
Her career has moved through gospel, Southern soul, disco, and back again. But behind one of her biggest songs was a deeply personal story.
Love only breaks up to start over again. You'll get the
Young Hearts Run Free sounds like liberation. The rhythm is bright, the groove is irresistible. The chorus feels like a declaration of independence.
love only breaks up to start over again.
But the emotional reality behind the song was much darker.
I'm gonna leave 100 times a day. It's easy said than done.
Staton was living through an unhappy and abusive marriage when songwriter David Crawford wrote the song for her.
Oh, young hearts.
The lyrics about wanting freedom from a relationship (26 Grammys), while recent coverage also highlighted her continued musical work and performance. Little Anthony, the voice that survived the changing music industry.
Remember me, but I remember you.
Little Anthony Gourdine was born in 1940 and is 86 years old in 2026. He emerged during the golden age of vocal group R&B, when harmony groups could turn a 3-minute record into an emotional drama.
Not so long ago, you broke my heart in two.
With Little Anthony and the Imperials, he became known for a voice that sounded almost too vulnerable to belong to such a young singer. Then came Tears on My Pillow.
Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart.
The song was built around a simple idea. heartbreak so deep that even sleep cannot provide an escape.
In my heart, caused by you.
But the recording itself became a major success. It reached number 4 in the United States, sold more than 1 million copies, and became one of the defining records of the group's early career.
Could start anew. I wouldn't hesitate.
There is also a fascinating detail in the group's history. The group had previously been known by other names, but when influential DJ Alan Freed began introducing the lead singer as Little Anthony, the name stuck.
I'd gladly take you back and tempt the hand.
And so, a stage name created in the world of radio became part of music history. But Little Anthony's real achievement was survival.
Love is not a gadget. Love is not a...
The music industry changed dramatically. Vocal groups lost their dominance. Rock changed. Soul changed. Pop changed. The album era arrived. Then came disco, MTV, hip-hop, and the digital age.
You find the one you love, she'll fill your heart with joy.
Yet Little Anthony remained connected to the tradition that created him. His voice belongs to a time when heartbreak had to be communicated with harmony, melody, and feeling, before production could hide emotional weakness.
Don't remember me, but I remember you.
That is why his music still matters. Because sometimes the simplest song is the one that remembers exactly how heartbreak felt. 8. Dionne Warwick, the voice of sophisticated soul.
If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry.
Dionne Warwick was born in 1940 and is 85 years old in 2026. Her story is different from many of the artists on this list because she helped prove that R&B could be elegant, sophisticated, and emotionally restrained without losing its soul.
Each time we meet, walk on by.
Her breakthrough came through her collaboration with songwriter Burt Bacharach and lyricist Hal David. Together, they created songs that sounded unlike almost anything else on the radio.
Make believe that you don't see the tears, just let me.
Warwick's voice did not need to overpower a song. She could deliver a lyric with remarkable precision, making heartbreak sound almost conversational.
Just let me grieve in private, 'cause each time I
Walk On By is perhaps the perfect example. The song is about seeing someone you still love and pretending you do not care.
'cause each time I see you, I'll break down and cry.
But Warwick does not sing it like a dramatic breakdown. She sounds controlled, almost composed, and that restraint makes the pain feel even sharper.
I just can't get over losing you, and so if I see
Her career would eventually stretch across pop, soul, gospel, and adult contemporary music.
foolish pride, that's all that I have left. So
She became one of the most successful recording artists of her generation, with 56 Billboard Hot 100 appearances between 1962 and 1998.
behind the tears and the sadness you gave me.
Her voice also became part of some of the most important musical moments of the 1980s, including That's What Friends Are For, the charity single that raised money and awareness during the AIDS crisis.
Walk on by, don't stop.
Dionne Warwick was never just a singer. She became one of the most recognizable voices in popular music, but her career also extended beyond the recording studio and into acting and television.
Let me hide the tears and the sadness you gave me.
She appeared in films and television productions, bringing the same elegance and distinctive presence that made her such a compelling performer on stage. For an artist whose career has stretched across generations, music was only one part of the story.
Don't stop. Now you really gotta go, so walk on by.
And in 2026, Dionne Warwick is still performing and recording. She performed with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra in March and has continued discussing her final studio album and ongoing tour. Dionne Warwick's legacy is not simply that she had hits. It is that she brought sophistication to popular music without ever losing its emotional center. 7. Mavis Staples, the voice of gospel, soul, and social change.
I know a place, ain't nobody crying.
Mavis Staples was born in 1939 and turned 87 in July 2026. She began singing professionally as a child with her family. But what makes her story extraordinary is how naturally her music moved between gospel, soul, and the struggle for social justice.
Ain't nobody worried. No, ain't no.
The Staples Singers were more than a musical group. They were a family, a church-rooted ensemble, and, during the civil rights era, a soundtrack for people demanding change.
No, lying to the races.
Mavis's voice had a rare quality. It could sound comforting and confrontational at the same time. Then came I'll Take You There.
Let me take you there.
The song was built around a simple promise. Somewhere beyond the pain of the present was a better place. But the genius of the record was the contrast.
Come on, somebody help me now.
The message felt spiritual, while the groove was unmistakably funky and deeply rooted in soul. Mavis Staples carried that combination throughout her career.
Oh, help me now.
She could sing about love, faith, struggle, and hope without making them feel like separate subjects. And her career never truly became trapped in the past. She continued making new music and collaborating with younger artists, proving that a voice shaped in the 1950s and 1960s could still speak directly to modern audiences. Her official biography describes her as a living heritage of the Staples Singers' legacy, and in 2026, she remains active as a recording artist and performer.
What you doing?
Mavis Staples is not simply someone who remembers the history of soul music. She is one of the people who lived it. Before we get to number 6, a quick birthday shout to the legends who recently celebrated another year of life. Still here, still inspiring, and still reminding us that true musical legacy never fades. And if these stories are hitting you the way they're hitting us, hit that subscribe button right now and stay connected. Retro Vinyl brings you a new journey through the music, the memories, and the legends behind them every single week.
Let me take you there.
6. Shirley Caesar, the First Lady of Gospel.
My sister's little boy came into the kitchen one evening while she was fixing some.
Shirley Caesar was born in 1938 and is 87 years old in 2026. Long before she became one of gospel music's most celebrated figures, she was a child singing in churches and traveling to perform.
She took the letter in her hands and she read it. And this is what it said.
Her childhood was not easy. After losing her father when she was young, she began singing to help support her family. The little girl known as Baby Shirley would eventually become one of the most powerful voices in gospel music. One of her most memorable recordings was No Charge. The song tells the story of a child presenting a mother with a bill for all the things he has done, but the mother responds with a different kind of accounting, one that reveals that love, sacrifice, and care cannot really be measured in money. It was a simple story, but Caesar's delivery made it unforgettable. That is one of her greatest strengths. Shirley Caesar has always understood that gospel music is not only about singing notes. It is about testimony. Her music carries the feeling of someone telling you what they have lived through. And that is why her influence reaches far beyond gospel. R&B and soul were deeply shaped by the church. The emotional intensity, the call and response, the storytelling, and the ability to turn pain into hope all came through that tradition. Shirley Caesar helped preserve that connection. At 87, her official work continues to describe her voice and ministry as an active legacy that still reaches new generations. Some singers give you a performance. Shirley Caesar gives you a testimony. The next legend carried a voice so sensual and spiritual that, at the height of his fame, he eventually chose a completely different path. Five, Al Green, the soul singer who walked away from the spotlight. Al Green was born on 13 April 1946, making him 80 years old in 2026. In the early 1970s, his voice seemed to come from somewhere between a church pew and a bedroom.
Whatever you want to do. Oh, yeah.
Soft one moment, fragile the next, then suddenly full of pain. Let's Stay Together became the perfect expression of that sound.
You make me feel so brand new.
The song was romantic, but not in the usual way. Green did not sound like a man making a confident promise from a distance. He sounded like someone asking for love not to disappear.
Want to spend my life with you.
The record became a major hit and helped establish Green as one of the defining soul voices of the 1970s. But his story took a dramatic turn.
Ooh, loving you forever. Yeah.
After a traumatic personal experience in 1974, Green's life and priorities changed profoundly. He increasingly turned toward gospel and ministry, becoming an ordained minister, and moving away from the secular soul career that had made him famous.
Let me be the one you can run to.
That decision has fascinated audiences for decades. At the moment when many singers would have chased even greater fame, Al Green began looking for something beyond it.
I'm so good or bad, happy or sad.
His life became a contradiction in the most human sense. The man who sang some of the most sensual love songs in American music became a preacher. The voice that once whispered about romance began singing about faith.
Let's stay together.
And in 2026, at 80, Green remains a living figure in the history of soul and gospel.
You make me feel so right.
His story reminds us that sometimes the most important chapter in an artist's life begins after the biggest hit.
Want to spend my life with you.
4. Gladys Knight, the Empress of Soul.
Too much for the man.
Gladys Knight was born in 1944 and is 82 years old in 2026. She was singing in church as a child. By the time she was 7, she had already gained national attention as a young performer.
He's come to know.
Eventually, she became the lead voice of Gladys Knight and the Pips. But one of the most interesting things about Knight's career is that she never needed to be defined by one record label.
He said he's going back to find.
The group recorded for several labels before finding enormous success with Motown and later Buddha Records. Then came Midnight Train to Georgia.
The world he left behind. Not so long.
The song tells the story of a man whose dreams have not worked out and who decides to return home, and the woman who loves him decides to go with him. That storyline is what made the record so powerful. It was not a simple love song. It was a story about failure, compromise, and devotion. The song became Knight's only #1 pop hit, but its emotional impact far exceeded the chart.
Going back.
The Pips' harmonies created a kind of conversation around Knight's lead vocal. She sang the heartbreak. They answered it. And together, they created one of the most recognizable records in soul history. Knight's legacy also stretches beyond music, into film, television, gospel, and live performance. She remains active in 2026, and recent coverage has shown that even at 82, her stage presence remains powerful. Gladys Knight did not simply earn the title Empress of Soul. She spent a lifetime proving why it belonged to her. Before the final two, take a moment to remember the first time one of these voices entered your life. Was it your own memory, or a song someone older passed down to you? Three, Patti LaBelle, the powerhouse who reinvented herself. Patti LaBelle was born in 1944 and is 82 years old in 2026. Her story is one of reinvention. She began with a girl group that eventually became the Bluebells. Then the group transformed into LaBelle and moved in a more adventurous direction.
Hello, hey Joe, you wanna give it a go?
The sound became louder, more theatrical, more adventurous. Then came Lady Marmalade. The song was bold, funky, and impossible to ignore. But there is a surprising story behind it. Patti LaBelle has said she did not initially understand the full meaning of the French phrase in the chorus. She only learned what it meant after the song became a hit and complaints began arriving, including from nuns. The record, of course, survived the controversy. More than survived it. Lady Marmalade became one of the defining songs of the 1970s and helped establish LaBelle as a group willing to go places that traditional soul groups had not gone before. But the most important chapter came after LaBelle ended. Patti LaBelle had to reinvent herself as a solo artist. That transition was not easy. The group had been her identity. Now she had to build a new one. And she did. Her solo career produced another generation of hits and established her as one of the great vocal powerhouses of R&B. That is why Patti LaBelle's story matters. She did not simply have one legendary era. She survived the end of one and created another. She remains active in 2026, with her official website continuing to list upcoming performances. Some artists become legends by staying the same. Patti LaBelle became one by refusing to remain in one place. Two, Diana Ross, from Detroit girl to global superstar.
If you need me, call me. No matter where you are.
Diana Ross was born in Detroit in 1944 and turned 82 in March 2026. Her story begins with a teenage girl who joined a group called the Primettes. That group would eventually become the Supremes. But the road to success was not immediate. The Supremes experienced a string of early failures before finally breaking through. Then, almost overnight, the group became one of the biggest acts in the world.
No rain, no winter's cold, can't stop.
Where did our love go? Baby love, stop, in the name of love. The hits came one after another. But eventually, Diana Ross had to face the question that has challenged so many singers who leave successful groups. Could she become a star on her own?
No rain can stop me, baby. If
Her solo version of Ain't No Mountain High Enough answered that question. The song had already existed as a Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell duet, but Ross's version transformed it into something grand and dramatic, building from quiet verses into a huge orchestral climax.
I know you must follow the sun wherever it leads, but remember,
It became a statement. Diana Ross was no longer simply the voice of the Supremes. She was Diana Ross.
remember life holds for you one guarantee. You'll always have me.
The solo career continued through music, film, and television, with roles including Billie Holiday in Lady Sings the Blues, and performances that turned her into a global entertainment icon.
Mountain high enough, ain't nobody low enough, ain't no river wide enough.
And she is still performing in 2026, with her official website listing a worldwide tour.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry.
The girl from Detroit did not simply become famous. She became part of the architecture of modern popular culture. And now, the final legend, the man who helped teach R&B how to express heartbreak.
Call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
1. Smokey Robinson, the man who helped teach R&B how to express heartbreak.
People say I'm the life of the party 'cause
Smokey Robinson was born in Detroit in 1940 and is 86 years old in 2026.
although I might be laughing loud.
To understand his legacy, you have to understand that he was never just one thing. He was a singer,
So take a good look at my face.
a songwriter, a producer, a talent scout, a Motown executive, and one of the people who helped shape the emotional language of modern R&B.
You see my smile looks out of place.
Robinson formed the Miracles while still in high school. His meeting with Berry Gordy helped lead to the creation of Motown, and Shop Around became the label's first #1 R&B hit.
If you look closer, it's easy to trace.
But perhaps his greatest gift was the way he could turn complicated emotions into simple images. The Tracks of My Tears is the perfect example.
The tracks of my tears.
The song is built around a person who looks happy on the outside while falling apart inside. That idea is universal.
I need you.
Most people understand the difference between the face we show the world and the feelings we keep hidden. But Robinson expressed it with extraordinary elegance.
Since you left me, if you see me with another girl, seeming
He also wrote and produced major songs for other Motown artists, including My Guy for Mary Wells and My Girl for The Temptations.
although she may be cute, she's just a substitute.
His official biography describes him as a key architect of the Motown sound, and his work continues into 2026 through new music and touring.
I need you.
That is why Smokey Robinson belongs at the top of this countdown. Because he did not merely sing about heartbreak, he gave heartbreak poetry. And somewhere between a Motown studio, a quiet melody, and a line about tears nobody could see, Smokey Robinson helped teach R&B how to tell the truth about the human heart. 12 artists, more than 8 decades of life, and more than half a century of music, memories, and influence. Their voices helped shape the soundtrack of generations, and their stories remind us that true musical legacy is not measured only by how long an artist stays famous. It is measured by how long the music stays with us. Which one of these legends gave you a song you will never forget? And what memory do you connect to it? Thank you for spending this time with us here on Retro Vinyl. Until next time, Keep the needle on the record, and the volume where it belongs.
Let me take you